Live? I think we're live. We're live. Just assume we're live. Put on some tunage. Happy Sunday to whoever's watching. Thanks for tuning in. So today I'm starting sketch cover commission. Well, it's a lot of notifications. I pre-prepped the cover off screen because it's just easier that way. So yeah, I'm working on a Gorr commission sketch cover on this Thor God of Thunder book. So I already did the prelim drawing and took it to Photoshop to add a component. So this is what the final prelim looks like. I added the sword in Photoshop, printed out a couple of copies because I'm going to need to trim a mask. And there's another one with a little cut where I've covered the back in graphite because I need to transfer it to the cover. So the only reason I cut the top is so I can see how it lines up with the cover. How it lines up with the title treatment, actually. Because I'm going to have his head pop out. So I'm just going to position it. I can see a bit of my marking. Move him up a little bit. So I think that's more or less okay. So let's just tape this down. So it stays in place. And I'm just going to go over it, basically trace it down with a pen to get the rough shape in place. Then I'm going to take this up and start building out the details on the actual shape. This will be painted at the end of the day, but before I start paint, I need a solid drawing in. So this part's not very exciting. It's just part of the process. And those that have watched streams before know this is kind of my process with any commission work. Or anything that has a prelim. I do sketches for pack polls. I don't usually do a prelim anymore. Problem is I'm using a black pen, and black on black is a little hard to see. So I can't necessarily tell where I've covered. Should really get a blue pen. I used to do this part in pencil, but I find these zebra, this is actually 0.7 with 0.5 ink in it, that they have a really fine point that's maintained. If you do it with a pencil, the tip of the pencil slowly wears out, so you lose the line detail. Make this finger a little bit bigger. I think we decided on 3 fingers and a thumb. Let me double check. 3 plus 1, yeah, okay. I don't really need all the detail. I just want to make sure I grab the silhouette. Because I always have the original printout with me, so I can refer to the shapes and so on after. Gonna block in his Sim Speedo that someone coined earlier today. Trying to figure out what do you call Gorr's Speedo. I went with the alien banana hammock, but Sim Speedo's better. Okay, so I thought I need this part. His cape and outfit is primarily solid black, but I am gonna want to maintain a little bit of volume. So I think once I get to the paint, the way I'm gonna handle it is block in the solid blacks and ink, which will be the shadow. So inside here, here, the speedo, the inside fold of this piece here. Do those solid black, and then do the rest of the outfit in a off black, like a really dark charcoal, maybe with a bit of a purple tint. And we'll see. And if that doesn't look good, then I can always go over the whole thing in black. So I'm not too worried. Oh, that's his tentacle thing. And I'm not going to worry about the all the symbiote goo dripping on him because I'm just going to repaint that or redraw that anyways. Okay, I think for the sword I'm going to use a ruler, so I'll do that in a second. The challenge on this specific piece is going to be painting over the text. I usually like to leave a little bit of the white of the paper or the transparency of the paper showing through and use that to my advantage. But because I want to cover part of the title, I'm going to have to put down a layer of white, and then either redraw or retransfer in the details. But because I'm not sure how well that's going to work, I'm going to transfer the face now as well. This is really just tracing. The only thing that I would recommend if you do this, try to take this approach to transfer your pencils, try to keep a very consistent line. So no chicken scratches, just nice, confident lines. Also, don't press too hard because you don't want to indent into the original cover. So what I did with the cover is, and I'll show on another blank in a second. The actual book is in it's bagged and boarded, and I cut a slit down this side. So pull the book out, put it back in with just the cover on top, so nothing's going to bleed through from the cover onto the original book, and then it's all taped up. And you see when I take off the transfer sheet, it's taped off around these edges, and it will end up being taped off at the top as well. But I need to mask out part of his head before I do that, and that will help keep everything nice and clean. I'm gonna have a nice kind of gallery border on the painted region. It's gonna allow me to varnish it at the end to have nice crisp edges, and it's also gonna let me airbrush in the background detail. Well, not really detail, but the textures I'm gonna do in the background. So it's not on white. Should look good, I hope. There we go. Quickly block in some of these symbiote drips just so they're there. Plan is really to do all this stuff at the very end in pure black. Oh, Brad, do this finger stuff. Might as well. And I have that. I want to make sure I can highlight, or not highlight, but define his hip here because he does have a weird hip. And now I need to do the sword, the blade. This is always going to be also going to be a bit of a bitch when I need to cut the mask for the spray paint or for the airbrush. Oh, I don't think I did this part of the cape. Other thing is you want to be careful not to smudge or run your hand on the area that's covered in graphite because it's just going to leave smudges on the paper. And while it's fine because you can erase them, but you might be smudging your lines, which would just make it a little harder to define the edges. And usually when you're rendering or working with any type of graphite or charcoal or anything that smudges easily, you want to work from the opposite side, your opposite dominant side. So if you're right-handed, you start from the left and work right. If you're left-handed, start from the right and work left. And then that way, as you're smudging, if your hand does smudge, you're not really smudging the area that you've covered. What's up, Matt? Um, but that's not always possible. All right, so let's see. Slowly lift this to make sure that we left it from this end, that I covered everything that I want. Woohoo! Back to work. Yeah, I think I have everything. So I'm going to take off the paper and I'm going to set this aside and keep it because I'm probably going to need it again. I mean, I have a couple of prints of it, but this one's already sort of cut and positioned. So I'm just going to take the tape off of it. And, actually, I'm going to tape it to another one. To one of the other prints. One second, let me decide. Wait. I need to tear it a little bit there. So just in case. Just in case I need it again later. Well, thanks for popping in to say hi. Most people aren't as excited as you are to go back to work. It shows that you enjoy what you do. Guess that's what happens when you have a big boy job. Okay. So you can see I have a line here, a pencil line. That's where he's going to get taped off for the rest of the mask. Let me grab something to try and protect. So see, this is the area I was talking about in the face that there's no way for me to get the detail without painting all of this in white or a light gray and then redoing the details. But because I need to get my mask to protect it, need to draw in my silhouette. And it's just plain HB. Let's see, sorry about that. It's a bit of a challenge seeing the edges here. This little bit of the head tentacle, or I'm not sure what the PC term for it is, this little bit sticking out is going to be a nice effect. I know I can't really see. Is that his ear? Maybe I should have done this in blue pencil. This cheekbone, and there's a piece of his ear. There, this part takes a little bit of focus trying to figure out what goes where. And I can see I actually missed the outer edge of this tentacle here. All right, I think I'm good there. I'm gonna retrace the sword. You know what? Let me see. Do I have my other pencils here? I really want a fine edge here. So, yes. What lead is this? 2H. You know, like an HB or a B or something. What is this? That's purple. Nobody likes purple. What do I have purple? Let's see what this is. Okay, that looks pretty dark. Yeah, that's better. Do I have? I'm so disorganized sometimes trying to find a French curve, but I don't know where there. See if I can. Oh, here we go. Maybe I can line this up. Perfect. French curves are genius. You can pretty much match any curve you can think of. Time is it? 1:30. So I'll be on for a bit, a couple hours for sure. Because then maybe a couple of other artists are going to join. It is the weekend and people got shit to do. But we'll see. See what happens. It's all going to be black. Just really need to get a nice edge here. Don't really care what happens in there because that's all going to be blacked out. All right, let's start masking off the top a little bit. This sharp, I think it's 3M multi-line, sharp line multi-surface, the 2093 tape is fantastic for masking. It's not super tacky, and it leaves beautiful edges. I just recently started using it. I did a sketch card. Uh, I just finished the sketch card using this to mask off the frame, and it gave me a super crisp edge. The reason I drew the very thin pencil line is so I know exactly where to put it to get it straight. Okay, so that's gonna get airbrushed. I just need to do the silhouette. But first, I think the first thing I'm gonna do on this guy is really block in the head so I can paint over and see how easy it's going to be to lose um, the type. But I do want to protect keep as much of this clean, so I'm just going to, actually, you know what? Let's try to frame in the head. I don't need an edge here. I just want to try to keep the sides as clean as possible. Use that paper. Let's grab a piece of scrap. Tape that down there. Sure, I'm covering as much of the actual cover as possible so I don't get any smudges or anything weird on the white of the paper. Okay, we'll just use that there. Arts and crafts hour, boys and girls. Making Martha Stewart proud. Just taping shit down. Funny if I do all of this and then still end up getting some spatter. Well, not funny, but disappointing. It's like origami. Take that down. Stay. All right. I got a nice fine tip on my pencil. There we go. Oh, no, it's over here. All right, well, here goes nothing. Just gonna take a picture of this because I like to take pics. So take a quick picture. All right. I'm debating whether to use straight paint or acrylic ink to white out this part, and I think acrylic ink is going to be the smarter way to go. So I like to use Liquitex acrylic inks because that's what I bought, and until I run out, that's what I like to use. Yeah, just gotta give it a good shake. I think I need to clean this bottle. There's a lot of speckle shit coming out. Let's find a pointy brush. Maybe use a new one for this. All right, brand new brush. See, that covers pretty well. So hopefully it's going to work for me. I need to do two coats. All right, this is going to work just fine. I'm just going to have to redraw the face over once it's done, but that's okay. I don't mind drawing. I think the proper way to do this is to just do the outline and then use a bigger brush to block in the center. This is going to be a really cool effect because he's going to come out of the frame and then also cover part of the title treatment. So it's going to create a nice depth to the piece. Yeah, that's. All this prep work. I'm gonna keep. If I don't have to redo the mouth, that'd be awesome. I let areas dry properly before I go over them again, so it's going to really destroy the paper surface. Because I'm not just sewing this, there's really no fixing that. I mean, really, gesso would be the fix if something goes terribly wrong. Then I would need to gesso it. Okay, I really want to get a crisp edge so I can go in with a bigger brush. So my plan for today on this is if I can get to the point where I have enough of the figure blocked in with values and detail that I can do the mask for the airbrush and do the first layer of flats on the figure and then airbrush the background tonight when I get home. I I would be happy with that progress. I think I have enough time to do that, but working with a number one brush is not exactly the best way to speed things up. Clean this brush off a little bit. It's a brand new brush, so I'd like to clean it properly. Let's find another brush I can use for the main part of the head. It's a lot easier to use a bigger brush for this stuff. Yeah, I think this is the way to go. Just do the core, and then once that's drying, just go back in and clean up the edge. Okay, this is taking a bit to dry, so let me plug in the blow dryer and speed things up a little bit. Okay, I'm just gonna mute myself for a second while I blow dry this. Okay, that's a little better. I think I'm just gonna bite the bullet and use some actual paint mixed with the ink. Just don't have the patience. There we go. Paint actually sticks better to the inked surface anyways. In one way, I sort of hate doing this because I feel like I'm wasting ink. But I'm gonna have to. Almost there. Almost. And I don't need it to be perfectly covered because I'm going to be painting over it anyway, so there's still more layers of paint coming. And if there's a slight hint of the lettering towards the edges, I'm okay with that. I just don't want to see like half an O in the middle of his face. Kind of has a bit of Guillermo del Toro feel now. Like I could give him one eye in the middle and make like a weird cyclops, mythological cyclops creature. That'd be pretty cool. I'm not going to do that, but it would look cool. I think I need to invest in some acrylic gouache. Maybe just a primary set. It's supposed to be very translucent, much like gouache. So you can do a lot less applications to cover off an area. Maybe I'll pick some up next weekend. I'm just putting a watered down layer of paint over the rest of his face, um, just so I don't end up with an edge later, kind of where the paint ended. And if I have an edge on his chin, it's fine because it's a natural break. But if I have like go end up with a bit of a line in the middle of his face, it's gonna look stupid. So I'm just fading this out to clear. So, I don't know if there's anybody out there watching, but if you are, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, say something. Let's see how that looks. Back with the small brush. Just refining those edges. It's a little wet there, so I don't want to overwork it. Let's come off the brush. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry for a little bit and start working in the underdrawing. So for this, I'm using Prismacolor Coal Erase black. These are very fine. It's a harder lead than your standard Prismacolor Premier, which blend really well. It's almost like graphite, but it's still colored pencil or pencil crayon, as they're referred to in Canada. Now, one thing when working with any taped off area, if you're penciling onto it, never pencil towards the tape, because what's going to happen is you're going to clip the edge and you're going to get lift in the tape. So always pencil away like that. Same thing with paint. If you can, paint away from the edge. I think I'm going to darken up the whole foot. See if there's any other edges I need to crisp up. Okay, I don't know what that means, but you look like a spam bot. Time out. Okay, that's almost dry enough to do another coat. Let's see, eraser pen. The problem with these color erase pencils is that the eraser is really good, but if for some reason it dries, it turns into like cement. So every time I pull a new one out, I make sure that the eraser's good and it's nice and soft. And if it's not, I pop it off right away so I don't try to use it by mistake and then like scratch the shit out of the paper. All right, so let's do another coat of white here, especially in the areas where it was destroying it. You know what? Let me actually. I'm just gonna share this out, see if. Actually, um, what's up, Isaac? Yeah, man, it's Gore. That's the prelim, so that's the sketch, and that's what's happening. A lot of prep work, but thanks for hopping in to watch paint dry. Really, at this point, 'cause I've just been painting in the or covering in the head in white, so you don't see the branding from the book. So, see, there's a couple of people that go hard for Gore, um, including the person that commissioned this. Um, but he's a sick character. Sick like the way the kids use him, not like COVID sick. Yeah, he's not the most popular character, but there's a handful of people that collect him, and they're hardcore. I'm not too familiar with him, but I really like the aesthetic of the character. Kind of reading up a little bit on him the last couple of days. Um, And yeah, it's got an interesting story, like interesting history. Can definitely see Marvel making him an anti-hero like Venom. I find the the villains that are born out of circumstance are the most interesting, and by that I mean it's not like Kingpin, who just was an asshole, but like Doc Ock, Gorr, Sandman specifically. Like some bad stuff happened, and that's something happened to them, and they got powers, and they're trying to make the best of it. I mean, I think the best example of there's a name for this type of stuff, but I'm not much of a literary person. Um, Mr. Freeze in Batman, right? He's not trying to take over the world or rob banks or anything. He's trying to keep his wife alive. Yeah, past trauma created the villain. I mean, it's the same thing with the heroes, right? All the heroes are born from trauma. Spider-Man, Batman, Iron Man, to a certain degree. I guess they're a little bit more relatable. Might be jumping the gun, drawing the face back in. If anything, I just need to redo the edges in white, so it's okay. But I need to take a quick couple of minute break. I'm streaming for an hour and 20. I'll be on for a bit, but I need to stretch my legs and something else. So, oh, I'm not going to turn off the stream. I'll be back in 5 minutes, but I will mute it. If you want to stick around, continue working on this bad boy. Okay, I'm back. When you get back and I see a glimpse of the Venomized Thanos. Let me see if I packed him yet. No, okay. You sure you want to see it? What did I? Where is he? Oh, he's right here, Isaac. If you want to see the other side. Okay, you ready? Was that quick enough? Okay, look at the back. Yeah, he's got to go in a new top loader, and this is just to protect him. But okay, yeah, he's shipping tomorrow. I'll drop you the tracking. Let me share this out. See, maybe. One second. It's no. Hey, Nick. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, just working our way on this bad boy. It's a lot of prep work, but you know what that is. Taped it up, transferred over to the paper, not masked off, painted in the head, so we lose the title, and now just building values. Really taking my time with this one, so getting a lot of depth. Yeah, I really like this pose better than the original. So I'm glad you agree. Yeah, I'm gonna need to redraw the face over the painted area here um, because obviously I have to paint it over. But on yeah, the face specifically, Nick, because the first time it kind of, like you saw, I did the face 3 times, but getting a handle as to how his head's structured is a little bit tricky. But I think I got it now. So it's kind of humanoid, but not. So no, let me adjust the light on the camera. It's a little blown out. Yeah, let's go darken a bit. You can see I'm just building out the values in pencil, blocking in the dark areas. Hopefully, Nick, your fellow Gorr. All right, man, no problem. I'll be up on YouTube, Facebook, whatever. I don't delete anything, so you can always catch up with it later. It won't be done today, though. Um, and I'll take some process pics, and hopefully your fellow Gore fan likes it as well. Oh yeah, and like I said, Nick, I'm not rushing it, so um, if I can get the base values penciled in today and spray the background, do the airbrushing on the background, I think I'm going to be in really good shape. I mean, that's the ideal plan, but we'll see. We'll see where the day takes us. But yeah, no, you got to go. So I'll catch you later. Hey, looks like we have a guest. 1 second. Turn off the music. Oh, this is gonna be cool. Hey,
How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am doing all right. I have a lot of crap to take care of this morning, and this is a wonderful distraction that I needed.
Oh, well, I'm glad I could help.
a
Oh, looks like someone's gonna be putting in some maximum effort.
little bit, a little bit.
My music's too loud. So,
Now, what do you listen to that so you don't get in trouble?
I go on YouTube and search for no copyright mixes. So I got this one that was running before is Best Music 2020 No Copyright EDM. It's not too bassy.
I
But
found
yeah,
a
I mean,
few
if you,
on. Go ahead.
yeah, like you find one of them, and then the recommended videos will be a bunch of other like no copyright stuff, like a lot of gaming and relaxation, techno
Yeah,
jazz, right?
yeah. I found a few like those on Spotify too. They have there's a few playlists that are all royalty free stuff.
Oh, okay. I don't have Spotify, so I just YouTube it.
You gotta check. I mean, I don't want to sound like a sales rep for them, but you ought to check it out. I mean, you can get it for free. The premium is $10 a month. The cool thing about the premium though is that you don't have to be continuously streaming to get the music.
Oh, you can
So
download it.
yeah, it'll download into your phone,
Oh,
and for it all sort of connects on the cloud. So like you can be on it at home, put playlists together, store them in its memory, and then like if you're like at the gym or driving or anything like that, you can fire it up and have access
yeah, cool.
to this playlist. So it's like listening to your own albums. And
Yeah, I
I don't know, I love
think
it.
I had a subscription to that, and I don't listen to enough music to
Uh,
justify it. I guess
yeah,
music, and then I did Amazon Music, which I think is part of Prime, but that's kind of garbage. Like they got
yeah,
nothing in there.
yeah. I got iTunes also. They came with my computer, and I hate it.
No.
I mean, just the selection and such. It's just and plus they nickel and dime you everywhere you go. I like the. I mean, I hate to keep sounding like I'm pushing them so much, but I really do like the way they have it set up, where you just download certain songs, put playlists together, or just set it up on radio. It's got a pretty powerful AI that really just sort of judges everything on your sounds and can make really cool selections based on that.
Mm.
Yeah, if you're not afraid of robot apocalypses and stuff, it's kind of
No,
cool.
I'm the robot apocalypse sort of pays the bills for me. So,
Yeah. So you encourage it, don't
oh yeah, bring on the machines. Yeah. So we working on their little Deadpool action.
you? Yeah. I was kind of looking at what to work on, and I had this one, and I started. It was I had a blue line. It was a 9x12 Deadpool. It was pretty simple. They just wanted Deadpool, and I'd gotten the other 9x12s, fairly worked on the the Hawkeye one you already saw.
Yeah, that's done, right?
Yeah, that's done now. And I got
That
a
looks sick.
and it's thank you. And there's I'm not sure of the character. Our nerd friends out there are going to yell at me on this one. It's a Red Lantern named Bleeze.
Okay, if you say so. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. It's a hot chick that has like this almost like 1960s comic book costume that involves a lot of bat wings and crap.
But it's one of the Lantern Corp people.
Yeah, she's one of the Lantern Corps.
Cool.
Actually, if I have one reference picture over here, I think I do. There. All right, copyright infringement. This is what she looks like.
That is sexy.
Very much so. Very much so.
Wow. It's like Harlequin and not Vampirella. What's her name? Satanica. And the
Wasn't
Green
there
Lantern.
isn't there like an anime character that's kind of like that too, that has like the big bat wing hat?
Oh, from she's from like a Street Fighter type game.
Maybe.
I'm gonna say Morgana, but
That sounds about right. I don't know. I was born in the 60s, Trey. I don't know these things. I get confused.
the bright lights are scaring me.
They do. Oh, these kids with their rock and roll and their Morgan Freeman and their
Video
Diet
games
Coke.
and their Nintendos.
Damn Nintendos.
Hey, have I ever showed you this?
Holy crap.
Um,
That's Neil Adams, yeah.
So last time I was in LA before shit hit the fan, every time I go, I try to kind of check out the comic book scene because they're hardcore there, right?
Okay.
But they're all over the place, and I have to like travel all over the city. So whenever I have time after every appointment, I try to, or meeting or whatever, I try to see if there's any comic book stores around to check out. So Neil Adams has a store in Burbank, tiny little hole in the wall. I can't remember what it's called, but it's named after his original studio from back in the day.
Okay.
So you walk into this place, and it's just like it's a small, typical comic book store, except that the back wall shelf, it's all books signed by Neil Adams.
Oh, hell.
Because it's his. But I'm not talking like, oh, here's 30, 40 books. It's like, here's 4,000 books that Neil had some involvement in, and they're all signed. Right? And in the back of the, like, it's got two big rooms. One of the rooms is kind of like a Magic the Gathering playroom, because people come there and play Magic or any of those card games. And then in the very back, there's a tiny little like art lesson room. And Neil wasn't there at the time, but I was talking to the guy running the store, and it was me and a colleague, and he showed us a room, and he's like, "Yeah, Saturdays, Sundays we'll have classes here." They had Alex Ross in there. They had, like, you name them. They kind of came in and hold little drawing classes for like 2-3 people.
Nice.
But the thing that blew me away, it's like, when you walk into like a little underground comic book store and there's comic books just kind of on the floor and under the pizza boxes and whatever.
Yeah.
Typical. The only difference is that instead of these all being kind of like 25-cent books, they're all original sketches. It's
Right.
all original art. Dude had a pizza box on top of an 11x17, which half of it was original pencils by what is his name? Oh my God, Kirby.
Jack Kirby.
Jack Kirby. So it's 11x17, crinkled up oil stains. Jack Kirby pencils on the left, Neil Adams inks on the right.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
So, anyways, they had the Neil Adams sketchbooks there, and
Yeah.
none of them were signed, but because Neil wasn't there. But it's great.
I have seen that book. Neil is a prolific appearer at Comic Con. I've seen him at a number of shows, and a couple of them we were actually set up near him. One of the more infamous ones was right across from him at Cincinnati the one time, and my girlfriend Michelle still loves to laugh about that. As we got into a good-hearted trash talk session one day, and it was just me and Neil just shooting insults at each other across the aisle.
You trash talk Neil Adams?
Yeah, because he started it with me. But it was good nature. It's good nature. He's a New Yorker. He don't care. He don't care. Man's got a thick skin. Unless it's like a lot of New Yorkers. He's got a thick skin when it comes to certain things, and other things you just stay off of, and you'll get along fine. But they like to, as they say in the gangster movies, bust your balls a bit, and that's what. He started doing that, and I just started doing it back because that's the way I was brought up. And he started laughing, and the next thing I know, we got this like trash talk session going on back and forth, and I'm laughing my butt off. Going, I'm doing this with Neil Adams. This is great.
That's crazy.
And but we were having a fun time just watching how he does things. I'm not going to go into it. He's a character. He is an absolute character.
Oh, I'm sure.
But of course, I would go over, any chance I got, I wandered over to this table and would talk to him, just face to face, and just having nice conversations with him. And I had to buy some crap, and that's not the one I got, but I did see that one there. He had a number of sketchbooks over there.
Oh yeah,
that's one of the nicer ones.
It's funny because I got this like when I was in Burbank a week before lockdown. Like I came in flew back in Saturday morning, and then next Wednesday everything shut down. Right. So I never looked at it. It was still in my suitcase. And then this past weekend I was cleaning out some stuff, and I'm going to move the suitcase, and there's still stuff in it. There's some other just like comic books and whatever, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck's in here? It's like, oh shit, I forgot about this.
A pleasant surprise.
It's like, yay.
I'll say I picked up a couple of weeks ago. If I can get to them. I was visiting the comic store, and ended up finding these reprints that Marvel's doing, and they're selling them dirt cheap. They're not really worth anything collectors, but they're reprints. And it's like, this is one of the first comic books I ever had when I was a kid.
Oh wow! So this is like, remember they did the X-Men classics when they just reprinted all the original X-Men?
That's exactly what this is. Yeah. They call it the True Believer stuff. And like this one here with the Analyst and the Fantastic Four.
Oh wow!
And oh my god, ha ha ha! Howard number one.
Is that Red Sonja?
No, that is Bev. That is how he met Beverly. You familiar with the story on Howard?
No.
Okay. This was him coming to our world, and one of the things I love about this is actually set in Cleveland. This is Cleveland,
Okay.
and this crazy wizard actually set up a keep in the middle of Lake Erie, right off the shore of the city, and it's just like this big spire tower type thing. And I'm not quite sure how Howard makes it out to this thing, but he goes out to it, and he finds this girl, dressed up in a Conan the Barbarian outfit type thing, and her name, she says her name's Beverly, and she was kidnapped by this wizard, and he's looking to free her and get the hell off of this thing, and wackiness ensues. And one of the funniest parts about it is the wizard like shoots this mystical bolt at Howard, and Howard deflects it, and it lands in the water. And this is how Lake Erie caught on fire, is how they explain it.
Okay.
It sets fire to the lake, and they actually use that as the story of how Lake Erie actually caught fire. Which I don't know if you knew that or not. It actually did.
Yeah. What did cause it though?
It was pollution, and it wasn't as dramatic as they make it out to be, but it was actually in an area near the flats, which is kind of like where all the wharfs are, and they, in the 90s they turned it into like a bunch of bars and restaurants and stuff. But back then it was just like the docks, and there were a lot of just waterfront areas where warehouses and crap, industrial areas. And somehow the pollution got ignited in this area, and it was just like these floating blobs of pollution, and they were just smoldering. Oh. And technically, yeah, I mean the river did catch fire. They had to. It took them days, I think, to put it out. Fire departments were there, but yeah, it was back in the days. I think it was like early 70s, 71, 72, or something like that. Cleveland was quite infamous for crap like that. It's infamous for other things now, but back then.
Yeah. It's the place where you go burn water.
Yeah, it literally does. Well, there's a well, actually, it wasn't the lake. It was I take it back. It was the Cuyahoga River that feeds into the lake. That's why. Getting my story straight now.
But it makes for a much more exciting story if you say that the lake caught on fire.
Yeah, Lake Erie caught on fire. There's a brewery in Cleveland based called the Great Lakes Brewery. It started off as just a little microbrewery where you could go in and get homemade beer and food and such. And one of the brands that they would market was called Burning River. And that was why.
Oh. And then the local historian society get all bent out of shape and make them change the name?
No. They're proud of it up there. They actually have a Burning River festival up there on the anniversary of the fire. They actually have like a big parade and food vendors and all kinds of crap. It's you go with what you got, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure Toronto's got its weird things. I'm sure.
Dortmunder by Great Lakes is Watch Me Open's jam.
Watch Me Open's jam?
Watch Me Open on YouTube. It's Billy. That's his YouTube channel. He says that Dortmunder by Great Lakes is my jam. I don't know what any of that means.
Oh, the Dortmund. That's a beer. That's one of the beers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They try to keep it named with like local flavor. There's an Elliot Ness. There's a Lake Erie Monster. There's
there isn't. That's an urban legend. It's not real.
Monsters are real, Drake.
It says they have a porter named Edmund Fitzgerald, so they're no stranger to naming beer after tragedy.
Yes, that's true. I forgot about the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Hi, Billy.
Welcome aboard, sir. Welcome aboard.
Billy's.
Is he a Clevelander? Or is he?
I don't know if he's in Cleveland. He's a hardcore collector. And
You,
a really nice.
you an Ohio guy there? You an Ohio guy there, Billy?
Let's see if he answers. Well, he answers. Yeah, he's said he's a hardcore collector, and what he does, and the reason it's Watch Me Open, kind of stopped using his personal account. He does box breaks on YouTube. Like he'll buy boxes of primarily Marvel stuff and just they'll put it on YouTube.
Nice.
Oh no, he's just a retired drunk. All right.
Hey, we all gotta have a calling. Spent a number of years in Cleveland. I can tell you, there's a lot of that professional.
Professional retired, like not competitive, not Olympic level. Just
it could be. It could be. I would put them against just about any city as far as drunks go. Oh my God, Northeastern Ohio in general. It's crazy. I have met very few people that can drink those guys under the table.
In a second, so we'll see. No, don't need that. It's getting a bunch of notifications for no reason. All right.
And there goes an ear. Trying out these new Bluetooth earbuds.
I got a pair and they work well, but for some reason, like if I put the phone in my pocket, they lose reception.
Nice.
So it's like, well, it kind of defeats the purpose of having to hold the phone close by because I could just use normal headphones.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. I mean, they're $14 Bluetooth headphones from the gas station, but
yeah.
maybe I should spend a little bit more money on it.
I don't know. When I started, when I went to get these, I was looking at the prices and was a little stunned how expensive the damn things were. And then I found this pair for like $26, and the reviews were not exactly stellar on the product, but I just said, yeah, what the hell, and tried them out. But they've been okay so far, except like with a lot of Bluetooth stuff. Like today, I had a little bit of problem. I would have been on a little earlier, but I had an issue with these damn phones. They suddenly wouldn't connect,
Oh.
and I had to like reboot everything to get it to run. But they're going now.
Yeah, shit like that. It just like I don't have the energy to struggle with technology. Like if I have something that works, great. If it doesn't work, toss it. And so Billy says in the Midwest in general, there's an article that comes out once a year, drunkest cities in the U.S.
All right.
And he remembers 7 of them are in Wisconsin.
Wow. I can see that.
That's like when
I've
you
never
read.
been.
So go ahead.
Uh-huh. I was gonna say I've never been to Wisconsin. Very little about it.
It's like if you look at the J.D. Power and Associates 10 most unreliable cars, it's like half of them are Dodge.
Well, we know what they do in Wisconsin now.
Make cheese and drink.
Seriously. I guess it makes sense, with the Packers and the weather up there. I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, I guess.
That always cracked me up about the American Midwest is just how much drinking they do, and then they blame it on the weather. It's like, well, it's always snowing up here, it's always cold up here, and that's why we're always doing that. And there's really nothing else to do in the Midwest. And Dre, I just like to throw this at just like, yeah, what, but why does Canada find things to do and they're further north? you know, how can you use that as an excuse when an entire nation finds productivity and weather worse than what you're dealing with?
Uh, yeah. There's a lot of drinking that happens in Canada too.
No.
It might not be as publicized as.
I think Letterkenny's letting it out, though. I think Letterkenny's blowing your secret.
Have you seen Trailer Park Boys?
I have seen part of Trailer Park Boys.
Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
I mean, do you walk around the trailer park with a rum and coke all the time? That's reality for some people. Well, rum and cola.
That's. We used to laugh about there's this little trailer park that's down at the bottom of the hill where I live. And to go on the main highway or to go into town, we have to go right by it every time. And it's like about 5 or 6 trailers that are just in this little gully next to this creek. And a lot of them just have, abandoned cars and appliances and everything out in front of them and everything. And when the weather warms up a little bit, we would crack up over going down there, and there were always it was just like King of the Hill. There was like these 3 guys that were always standing there, and they all had beers in their hands. And this one guy, he had like long hair and always wore a baseball cap, never had a shirt on, ever.
Yep.
So yeah, every time I would go by and I'd see him, I'd look and say, "Yep, you don't have a shirt on. He's got his beer and he don't have a shirt on."
I can see your nips.
Rural living, it's a lot of fun. So, are you a Letterkenny fan, or is that just not?
I've just watched stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those shows that's more popular outside of Canada. Though I saw that they released a new season.
Huh. When we got Hulu, I was surprised that once I had like unlimited access to it, I didn't enjoy it as much. I'm with you. I kind of like it better on YouTube, where you just like watch it in installments, and you're like, okay, that's cool. But like trying to watch entire episodes of it, it's a little hard.
See, I find myself really not watching a lot of stuff anymore because there's so much crap.
Yeah.
Every time I start watching something, I think to myself, do I really want to spend the next X amount of however long it is watching this? Or maybe I'm just getting old and cranky. But
yeah, we all are. How old are you again?
I'm 41. It took a second to do the math.
Holy shit, you're a baby.
Yeah. I'll be 42 in a few months.
Oh, well, there you go.
There.
Moving away from sippy cups now, are we?
Yeah, well, no. Sippy cups don't make a mess when you knock them over.
True. No, I'm with you. I feel a lot of the same way. I just don't watch. Especially if I find out it's a series, I just tune out automatically. Like I don't invest that much time.
Billy says there was a campaign to get Wayne casted as Wolverine. I guess Wayne is on
Letterkenny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the main guy.
That's Kenny.
Wayne. That's Wayne. The big guy with the plaid shirt. That's Wayne. don't know. I still advocate the accepted policy of drafting Australians to play Canadian superheroes.
Uh, he's actually Canadian, 5'10". He's not overly tall. Already has years of experience playing a smoking tough guy, and already in damn good shape. There you go. He's our next Wolverine.
Why not? If they could hire an Australian song and dance guy to pull it off, why not?
Yeah. But yeah, going back to the TV thing, I started watching Peacemaker, whatever.
Peacemaker, yes. Yeah.
Peacemaker.
What do you think?
Yeah, I turned that right off. Like,
Seriously?
This is way too. Nah.
Yeah.
Don't get it.
Well, you did see the movie, right?
Yeah, and unpopular opinion, Suicide Squad, the first one was better.
Well, there's the answer to your dilemma. You really needed to be into the James Gunn version to appreciate the TV show, because really that's all it is. Peacemaker really is just an extension of the damn movie.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, I actually watch more than I would have because of the intro sequence, the title sequence.
Yeah, the dance number is
the dancing. I'm like, okay, maybe it will redeem itself. Then 10 minutes later, I'm like, oh, turning this off.
Yeah. I am concerned the joke is starting to get a little thin. I have been watching it, so now I'm like 4 episodes in. Oh, hello.
No, I'm not picking that up.
But like a lot of series, and this is why I don't like to watch a lot of shows, is because they sort of sell it in the first couple of episodes, and then after that, it just, you can see they're kind of scrambling, or
drag it out.
They're really trying to drag it out, and this is what's starting to happen here. Is they did have a sort of a storyline going with these alien things, and there's all kinds of weird conspiracies and stuff going on, and it's like, okay, fine, we get it, but a lot of us were just tuning in to watch John Cena be a jackass, but now it's kind of got to the point where it's like, yeah, now we're tired of John Cena being a jackass, and we really don't care about the story. It's getting old.
Maybe I'll binge it when it's all over in the holidays.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I'm still digging the Boba Fett show. I'm kind of liking that for all its faults. I'm still liking it.
I haven't watched the last episode, the one from this week, but I think the one last week was the one with the car chase or the.
Oh yeah.
And I'm watching. I'm like, okay, this is dragging. Why is this dragging so long? I thought maybe it's building up to something, like all of a sudden they'll run into like the Millennium Falcon or something, and it's like, nope, there's really just killing time with this Benny Hill type of car chase.
That's sort of a mystery too. And I know everybody was all fired up about how horrible that was, but the big mystery to me on that one was, what the hell was that doing in there? It wasn't that bad of an episode up until that point. And then it was ridiculous.
It just wouldn't stop.
Yeah. It was like, they hired somebody's cousin to suddenly come in and direct a car chase, and they're like, yeah, just let him have his fun. And it just kept going.
And now I don't even remember. Yeah, I don't even remember what the discovery was at the end. So they stop, right? They catch that mayor employee.
Yeah.
And what was the?
Wow, you caught me. I'm sort of thinking, now I don't know. I'm kind of stumped too. I'm like, what was the big twist at the end of that one? It seemed like all the relevant stuff was earlier in the episode. When the Wookiee gets signed on to joins him.
Yeah. That guy looks cool.
Oh yeah. Stanton.
I don't know what I'm just calling him Pikachu.
Pikachu.
Because he just looks so fluffy.
He would make a good plush. He would make a good plush toy.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to be merchandise as shit. Rodney, I don't know if he's done, was doing a sketch cover with him that looks fucking fantastic.
Oh, he's doing it. He's doing one, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if he's done. It just inks. It just looks phenomenal.
Nice.
Uh,
Yeah, that's going to be the baby Yoda of that show. I'm pretty sure.
well, unless they give him a car chase scene.
Unless they give him a car chase, then yeah, because they can't do car chasing for shit.
And there was another weird thing, which was I just found it out like as a weird scene, is when the twins give Boba that baby whatever it's
Rancor,
called monster.
the Rancor, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. And then there's the whole scene with Danny Trejo when they're talking about uh, getting imprinted on him and stuff. And it's like, okay, where's this going? And then he's like, oh, I have to go, and he's gone. I don't understand the scene. What's happening?
Well, I did learn something about that episode, which makes sense in that it's understandable in that sense, but the fucking car chase still throws me. Is that episode was directed by Robert Rodriguez,
Yes, which kind of
and and
explains some of the weirdness.
yeah, and I mean it makes sense then why Danny Trejo suddenly shows up and is like, I'm the sage of Rancors, and I'm just going to get this long dialogue in the middle of this episode that makes no sense whatsoever. I'm
Well,
like,
that that's because he's buddies with Rodriguez.
yeah, yeah, because he's buddies with Rodriguez, and it's like, I always wanted to be on Star Wars, and Robert Rodriguez gives him a break on it, and now that makes sense. But now suddenly it's like, dude, we've seen you do car chases. You can do them better than this.
Yeah. Did you forget you did Death Proof?
No, he didn't do Death Proof.
Oh, he did
Oh,
Planet Terror, right?
that's right. He did Planet Terror.
Right. Which is kind of like the shitty part of that movie.
Years ago I would have argued with you on that.
Death Proof is so
And
much
then,
better.
well, see, I got thrown. I was in this whole I'm sick of Tarantino phase when I first saw that.
Oh.
And the long part of that where they're in the bar, or just the big build up to that with the characters, they're all kind of chummy and hanging out and going to go drinking, and the whole lead up to everything. I was just so frustrated with that, like going, God, this is horrible. Tarantino, damn you, you've done it again. And was so grateful for Robert Rodriguez doing this, like, just total trash tribute to grindhouse horror films and zombie movies and everything. And now I go back and watch it and go, yeah, I'm with you. Planet Terror is just a cheese fest, and it's kind of silly, but Death Proof is pretty freaking good.
Yeah, and it doesn't take too long to get there, right?
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking that went on longer than it did, but I watched it again and I'm like, not only was I enjoying all the crazy Tarantinoisms, leading up to that, the lap dance and the girls all talking shit, and Kurt Russell showing up at the bar and everybody trying to look cool and everything, and before the violence actually breaks out into it, and I was like, I'm actually liking this. This is actually well done. And then it gets into the violence. You're like, oh, okay, and here's the payoff.
Yeah, Billy says, he's going to ride that Rancor. Probably.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. You ride that Rancor, Bubba. You ride it.
I still like to call him Bubba.
Bubba Fett.
Bubba.
That should be a character in a Burt Reynolds. Bubba Fett.
Let's see, 1 second.
I'm actually taking a peek over here. What are you working on anyway?
It's a Gorr the God Butcher sketch cover.
Oh, that guy. Yes.
That's the prelim. I know I'm
Okay.
doing the values before I airbrush it. Yes, sir. It's a pain in the ass because.
Go
Sorry?
ahead. No, sorry. Go
I
ahead.
was saying it was a pain in the ass because, like, I taped everything off, but there's the Thor God of Thunder text up here. So once I
yeah.
transferred the pencils, I had to fill in all of this in white paint, so you can't see the text. It's going to stick out of this frame. And it's like, that was a stupid idea.
Oh, really? I know. I deal with that all the time with those damn things. Now, what are you just going to use white paint over top of it? Or are you going to like use Pro White or anything like that, or something a little more opaque, or
For what?
to cover the lettering?
Well, I covered the letter, like just where his head comes out.
Okay, you already masked that off then.
Yeah, it's just acrylic, like liquid text, titanium white.
Okay.
I'm still gonna need to take off the tape from the top, and then I don't know if I'm gonna do frisk it or just a mask because I'm gonna airbrush the background, the square,
Uh-huh.
and then his head's gonna stick up over the text.
There you go.
That's the idea, but just like one of those things. Like maybe I should have just kept it within the frame and saved myself 2 hours of masking.
Yeah, maybe not. It'll look cool when you get it done, though. Anytime you peek up over the lettering, it looks so much cooler.
Yeah, that's what I want to do because it creates that depth. So, yeah. There's no turning back now, anyways.
Nope. You're in it now, Hoss.
But this is my second sketch cover. Ow.
Second
Sketch cover.
ever?
Ever.
Really? I thought
Yeah.
you'd done more.
Nope. I bought a ton. I have like almost a long box full of blanks. But I've never done a sketch cover because I'm intimidated and I don't know how to price them. But like I find myself doing all this stuff at like 5x7 and 8x10. I'm like, I'll bet you if this was on a sketch cover, I could probably sell it a lot faster.
Well, what's the largest size you work on just for that stuff? You ever do like 9x12s or anything bigger than that?
I just started working larger. So I mean I did the cover for Roadkill Rampage, which was 11x17, like one of the covers. And that was one the first time I did a cover and probably the first time I worked at that size. And I really liked it. And I'm just working on I think it's 9x10 roughly, a painting, just kind of for shits and giggles.
Now here's the question I guess I would say is like, what would you charge for something like that?
I don't know. I have a really hard time pricing because it doesn't really come down to the size, I think, as much as the subject matter.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the size though is a good starting point.
Yeah, I mean, the size got to be a good starting point, right? But I mean, the few covers I have, the covers I have done, I'm doing at 150 US, and I think that's a fair price.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of going with the covers. I mean, considering you're full painting them, that's what I'm trying to get to. Is okay. Where do you go from it? It's like you get the size, you got the the detail, you got the layout, the subject matter, all of that stuff gets considered, and then you go into what is the final? What are you doing to this damn thing? If you're just doing like a lot of the comic pros do, where you're just doing a real quick marker drawing over top of something, or even just doing like what a lot of comic artists do, where they just it's just black and white ink with um, Copic marker colors, black colors.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Now you're sort of basing it on your fandom and your reputation at that point. But when you're doing a full blown painting, now you got to think in terms of how long is that taking you? As opposed to somebody who just does a Copic drawing.
Yeah, but if I start trying to charge by the hour, it's not. No one's gonna.
I misspoke. I guess I'm not. That's not where I was kind of going with it. I guess what I'm trying to say is like it's pricing your time plus also pricing the effort that you're putting into it, and
Right.
whatever individual skill that you're bringing into it. Like okay, you're painting them, but the way you're painting them is in a process that's able to go onto a cover and within a reasonable amount of time. I mean, guys who do big landscapes or well-known portrait artists who work in oils or acrylics are going to approach that completely different, and it's going to take them a hell of a lot longer, and they're not going to want to do it because it's not going to be worth their time. Guys who get like $8,000 for a 18 by 24 oil on canvas aren't going to want to screw around with a sketch cover, because first off, they don't have the skill to be able to transfer it on there. They don't know how to work with the material. They don't know how to turn it around fast enough. They haven't gotten to the process of streamlining it to where it is actually lucrative.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I
you can't
think
just
that,
simply say it's like painting, okay, yeah, you paint, but you're painting on a sketch cover, and that's a unique thing. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, you kind of want to base your price somewhere in that area. It's like, what is this thing worth to you, that you did this on? And I mean, I'll tell you like what I do. I'm been in the past year have been trying to streamline everything on the cover. And at one point was doing an awful lot of dry media with the chalk. I was like doing a pencil drawing, varnishing it, putting chalk color over top of it, touching it up with colored pencils, varnishing it again, and then I had a finished piece.
mm-hmm.
And that was like all fine and dandy, and I was able to get a set price. And what I was doing was anywhere. I mean, it was like anywhere from $60 to $100 a piece, because I could do them usually within 2 days. They were all kind of uniform looking. Everything was okay. I could keep the likenesses and everything. But I had this process down, and it was almost very mechanical. It was like I knew that within 2 days I'd have a finished cover, no matter what, because I could just get everything drawn, varnished, colored, whatever. Everything went into a step. So I'm looking at it, and I thought, well, it still has this weird pastel flat look to it that I thought looked pretty amateurish. And I'm seeing these guys that are doing full-blown paintings on it. And there was this one girl that was she's actually doing oils on these things. And she's charging $600 a pop for these things, for covers.
Right.
But she takes like 2 months to do one. And I thought, well, that's neat, except I can't do it. And, I'm not going to be able to sell myself for that. I mean, she's already got herself established. And there's
But
okay.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. And like for the effort I'm putting into these,
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably undervaluing the time. Not to sound like a dick or anything, but I'm probably undervaluing the time, right? But I've never done sketch covers, and I don't have a portfolio of sketch covers. So
well, I guess what I'm trying to say is you're pretty much there. You pretty much are. You could break right into it and do it if you wanted to. You've got the process down. I guess that's what I'm trying to say is like I'm watching your painting skills, and you have a very you're very confident with how you do it. You're not going in like freaking Michelangelo on every one of them. You're not going in like any or was it like Drew Struzan or anything like that. You're not sitting there taking weeks to do something because you don't have the time to do that. And you're also working on a small freaking sketch cover. You want to make this affordable. You want to make it so people will be able to buy it. But at the same time, it's like it's got to be worth the time and trouble that you're putting into it. So your painting style, and that's what I noticed. It's like very much like with the cards, is you streamline. you know how to go in, make something look painterly, but at the same time, it's not breaking. It's not killing you or taking up all your life, or you're losing a ton of money when you sell one of those things because you have the process down. You know what you're doing with it, and that is an easy thing to market. Once you can start turning it around, it's like it becomes like almost industrial. Now how to produce the damn thing in a certain period of time, so therefore now you can price it at whatever value you think it is. And honestly, for what I'm seeing you doing here, 150 is a good place to start, and you could probably take it up to about 200 within a year or two.
Well, I think
depending on
part
how
of
fast.
it is
Mhm.
it's just like when I talk to people that are into sketch covers,
Yeah.
like the guys that do sketch covers, they're like whatever, right? Because they don't like, you don't know who I am, right? But when I talk to sketch card people, it's a whole different thing because
Yeah.
they're familiar with the work, they're familiar with the quality, the style, everything else. But I think, and maybe I'm looking at it wrong. It's like I need to get my foot in the door in the sketch cover community.
Well, there's nothing wrong about it. It really is a matter of what do you want to do. I mean, if you want to do more covers, it really is just a matter of time. I mean, I've ran into the same thing when I did the cards. When I was doing that set with Bianca. Josh was telling me how much he's getting for a card. Everybody else is telling me how much they're getting for a card for a custom. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I do that set. Immediately, I get an email from some guy who's like, yeah, how much to do a custom card? And he's describing it to me, and I'm like, okay, fine. So I based it on my cover prices. I based it on, it's like, okay. And to me, it was a fair price for what he wanted done. It was like I said, like $50. And the guy immediately chilled off. And I'm kind of at first offended. It's like, well, Jesus, you guys are spending $50, $60, $70, $100 for a custom sketch card for all these other guys. What's wrong with my work? And that is when it hit me. It's like, they don't know who I am.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're saying with the covers. It's like, see, now I can do a live sale and easily sell like a 2-figure cover for $175, but I'll be selling it probably to somebody who's bought a couple covers off of me and knows what they're going to get.
Yeah.
And is kind of excited about it because they're seeing what other people are getting. It's like, oh, I want one of his covers. But it's taken a while to do that. It's taken a couple of years just to even get to that point. And that's what I'm just saying is like, if you want to get into it, what?
Sorry, Billy's like elephant in the room. Who are you? He doesn't know who you are. Introduce yourself.
I am myself.
This is Jay.
Hi, Billy. Hi, Billy. I'm Jay Fife.
He does sketch covers.
And I do sketch
and other larger stuff. And as much as he doesn't like to admit it, he does a lot of pinup stuff. Also monsters.
I like monsters. I'm sitting here talking out my butt because really I'm not as well known as a lot of the people I associate with. But this is where a lot of this is coming from. I hear them and I talk to them an awful lot. And I get their input. But I've seen it. It's when I started doing covers, I was doing them for $15 a piece, and they were horrible. But it was the thing to do at the time, and I just kind of focused on it, and it kind of took off a little bit, So I was starting to sell covers. Now I do some live sales with a couple of people, and we sell covers, and that's one of the big things I do.
Like your sales on Clan McDonald, and what's your local guys?
Locked and Loaded, yeah.
Locked and Loaded. Like,
yeah.
People know who you are in those communities, and they seem to gravitate to your work whenever you have it. Like,
yeah, and that's because of doing it, jumping in, and when I first did the sale with Clan McDonald, it was really almost embarrassing because I was doing a live sale with Sean and with Marat and with Ryan Kincaid, and we're out there in Illinois, and there's all these people chiming in like, oh my God, Ryan, oh my God, Marat, oh my God, Sean, and who is this guy again? And wait a minute, who's
some other guy?
Yeah, who's that fat ball guy? As the Gilligan's Island song goes, I was all the rest. And the rest, that was me. But it was a matter of I had nobody knew who the hell I was. I didn't have any of the clout to go with it. But at the same time, it was kind of exciting because it was like, okay, now I got to prove myself.
Right.
So, and it was a nerve-wracking experience, but it was like, Jay, bring your A game, sketch your freaking heart out because you can't screw up here. You can't relax. You really got to bring it. And, you're playing with these big boys here and, you got to shine. And what are you going to do? So, I just put in everything I could into it and talked it up and, made it as interesting as I could, tried to get as creative as I could. And also kept looking at what they were doing. It's like, all right, what works on these damn covers? What material can I do?
Right.
To
see
make
what
it
the
look.
market basically dictates, and
Yeah. And it's like, how am I going to bring the things or the process that I'm comfortable with, and how am I going to put it on a new medium that I'm not familiar with, that I'm going to be struggling with, and it was just a matter of experimenting and trying all kinds of crazy stuff and at the same time doing everything to be marketable, and slowly and surely I started building up a small following, and then some guy would take a chance and say,
what do we call your followers again? The Fifinators?
oh, what did we call them? It was funny.
I can't remember. I watched one of the older streams, but yeah, Billy,
It wasn't
that's
the
him.
Fifinator.
At J5JR. That's you, right? At J5JR.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's your IG.
That would be me, Billy. Comcast.net. I'm on Facebook and Instagram.
Still on MySpace?
I might still be. I don't think I ever took that page down. I don't know if I can access it, but I think it's still there.
I miss MySpace. It was good times.
I miss MySpace. I miss that. Do you remember how you used to be able to put your own theme music on?
Oh yeah,
that was so cool.
I used to customize MySpace pages for people.
Did you?
Yeah, load custom code, and that's part of what took MySpace down, is the fact that people were spamming the shit out of it. You can visit a MySpace page and all of a sudden get redirected to a porn site. Because they allowed all that, let the user do whatever they want. But they forgot people are assholes.
Yeah. That I always kind of wondered about that. I mean, I knew it wasn't just Facebook. I knew there was no way Facebook on its own was such an innovation that it was going to take down MySpace. There was no way.
People lost trust with MySpace.
I seem to remember that. There were always the bogus links and the terrible spams that you would get.
But yeah, I made decent money doing that.
I sold a lot off of that. I remember actually doing some decent business off of that, and that's where I actually met a lot of models that I worked with. Was on MySpace. Because it was pretty good on suggesting things like Facebook tries to do, but they were always pretty good. Like, oh, you're looking for these kind of people here, and I would end up networking with some pretty interesting people off of that because of that.
Yeah, I met a lot of people on MySpace. I mean, it was a good platform for networking, and
yeah, you're right. I think I was always wondering about that. I was like, what did happen? Yeah, you're right. I remember now the terrible spamming.
Yeah, and their security was shit too. It was very easy to hijack someone's account info because people could put in their own code. So it
Yeah.
didn't take long before people started hijacking passwords and shit. It's too bad.
Yeah.
But
Hey, it is what it is.
yeah.
All things must end.
Yeah.
You give Facebook time. It's not much longer.
Facebook, unless they shut it down or massive hack or something happens, they're not going anywhere.
You don't think?
So I think Billy is trolling your IG now, and he's
Uh-oh.
trolling a little bit your Savage Land Rogue.
Well, I'm a big Rogue fan, and putting her in a freaking jungle bikini never hurt.
Never heard anyone.
Never hurt any. That was one of my favorite moments in comics was when they did that. It was like Christmas.
It's like, oh my god, they can actually do this?
Well, they were putting so many characters in the sexy costumes at that time, and how many times was
Psylocke, posing around as a porn star in every freaking book. And then out of nowhere, they bring Rogue in, and it was this idea of, oh yeah, she's in the Savage Land, and oh, she's living in the jungle. Now she's Shauna the Jungle Queen, and she's in this little home. Her costume is shredded into becoming like this bikini thing.
It's a different time.
Oh, I know. And I just sat there grinning like, oh, thank you, Marvel. Thank you.
And then Gen 13 came out.
Boy, there's underrated.
And it's like, wow, okay, so apparently sex sells.
I have I think it's still up there in the shelf. I think I got a Fairchild figure up there still. It's up there. Well, that's a character that dropped off the map.
Well, who's Gen 13 was Silvestri's?
No, it was J. Scott Campbell started that one, I think.
Oh, right. And then he just moved on to other stuff.
Yeah, and I forget
That
who
was
took it over.
Wildstorm, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that was Wildstorm. And then DC got the rights to Gen 13. And
Yeah,
I know that,
Grifter's in DC stuff.
yeah, it was. I think didn't DC like buy Wildstorm all together? Like they just brought the characters in.
Yeah, I think so. And I just buried them.
See the Fairchild figure must be on a shelf somewhere. But yeah, what a great and yeah, the figure
Like under
has
the
like
bed.
yes. Yeah, it's
Under
next
the
to the
mattress.
moisturizer. Next to the moisturizer.
But that first Gen 13 cover, when they're all kind of mashed up, sitting on top of each other,
Yeah.
that was just genius.
Well, it was a fun book, and it was just as you said, it was everything that they were kind of looking for in a comic. It was sexy characters, mindless violence,
Yeah.
a very simple story.
But it was a good story. It was a good concept. But much like all the Image, Wildstorm, all those guys, right? They just did whatever they couldn't do at the big publishers.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do comics our way.
Yeah. But it was just still kind of the same thing over and over again. And to be honest, they were all just kind of rehashing the X-Men.
Oh yeah.
Wildstorm, Wildcats, Gen 13. It was all these. It was all these groups, and it was like, okay, here's a group of superheroes. They all have like unique abilities. There's got to be at least one hot chick in it, preferably two.
Yeah. It was very formulaic, right?
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
But hell, you're gonna. I'm sorry. I'm of the generation that am I really going to condemn somebody for being formulaic? No. What art's about, damn it. You find what people are buying and you run with it.
Just do it over and over and over again until people stop buying it. Then you rebrand.
Yeah, or you just try to freshen it up a little bit just to kind of test the parameters, and then that's when you do your relaunches and your reboots, or you just kind of come back with something completely different.
Oh,
I mean,
sorry.
I'll be honest.
Strife or whatever his name was, he was from Wildcats, not Gen 13.
That's right. That's right.
Right, because I was thinking like that has a Jim Lee tie-in. It just took a while for the wheels to spin.
Honestly, as far as writing and just characters go, the one that I liked the best out of all of that was the Savage Dragon. And I still to this day love the dragon.
Yeah, Savage Dragon definitely had a lot of potential, but that also seemed to have kind of like dumbed out over time.
Yeah, but at the same time, it had the room, it had the wiggle room to do that. Where it was very much like an old style comic, where there was going to be some kind of crazy cosmic threat, or just some ridiculous monster, or some some threat that was just going to be insane, and the dragon was going to come in, and there's going to be lots of crazy violence, and they had the freedom, since it was an image book, to keep the censors away from it, so they could they could up the sex and violence in it as much as they wanted to. But it was very much like, I read it like an old 60s Marvel book. It's kind of where the dialogue, the action, everything in it was just, to me, was very much like an old 60s Avengers or Fantastic Four book.
Yeah. I guess I'm trying to remember, because I haven't read that in ages.
That's all right.
I'm just trying to remember the story arcs or what was all about, and honestly, I can't.
I can't get that. It's like, I just kind of glazed over. I'm just like, yeah, look, violence, pretty picture. There we go.
The art was cool. I mean, the character design, I mean, was the Hulk, right?
Yeah, pretty much. With a fin on his head.
Yeah. That and Spawn. I mean, Spawn was something else.
Oh, God. Boy, you want to talk about story concept there. Wow.
Yeah, that was just, oh my God. What the art, the story, the first, let's say 10, 12 issues where it was all McFarlane.
Yeah.
That was just so good. And it kind of got a little goofy, but, or again, I got older.
Yeah, I mean, it does get dated. It's kind of like nowadays when you think back of movies when CG first came out, and we're like, oh my God, these effects are incredible. And you watch them now, and you're like, these are terrible.
I did that recently with Ultraviolet.
Oh wow!
And I remember watching that originally. I'm like, this is really fun, good concept, sci-fi, comic book, whatever, really cool effects. Put that on now. It looks like storyboards.
Oh wow!
It's like, ooh, this did not work.
Oh, I forget which one it was. I think it was Spider-Man 2. I was watching it, and I was looking at some of the CG in it where Spider-Man is jumping around as Doc Ock's throwing crap at him, and I'm like, this looks like a car commercial.
Brought to you by the new Hyundai Elantra. Cool, Billy. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey, thanks, Billy. Nice meeting you, man.
He's got to go work on his own video.
Okay. Have fun, man.
He's a content creator. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
I will. If I get a chance to, I definitely will. I'm all about that. Yeah, you had me a collector. Like the chesty blonde, like the chesty blonde at the office party. At the
yeah.
Oh, this is the CEO. Well, hello.
You're detached from the card collecting world, right? That's not really your jam.
It just out of circumstance,
Yeah.
I appreciate it, and I would definitely get into it if I had the opportunity. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but I know what you're
There's so much going on in that space now, not from like the sketch card part specifically, but just in that the non-sports collecting is
saying. Okay.
blown up the last year, but really the last couple of months. Insane, like insane sales and auctions going on
Huh.
Spider-Man's cards, and there's a card just sold for like 160 grand or 130 grand that
Jeez.
you could literally have bought 2 years ago for less than $1,000.
Even less than $1,000 sounds crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's always been expensive cards, but expensive cards in the last year, add a zero to their value, no problem.
Now, this isn't necessarily art cards. You're talking about stuff
No, pack cards. I'm
like
not talking about art
yeah,
cards. Art cards
yeah,
are still a little bit in the like sketch cards are still, I think, in the unknown
yeah. You're talking
because
like the Marvel masterpiece and stuff like that.
yeah, 2016, no, 2006 Marvel masterpieces, the set that Julian Boris did.
Yeah,
If you have any of those cards laying around and they're
which I
not
think
like, sorry,
I think I do.
you know what? Well worth looking to see if you have them and if they're in decent condition. $15 a card all day
Really?
long. All day long. People are buying packs on sealed packs that are still like in the original blister packing for $500.
We're going to
It's
continue this conversation off of live streaming, but yeah, I have to go back and look. Here's the story. Back in the '90s, I was living up in Cleveland, and I was with I had a couple friends of mine up there, and we were all sort of into the comic scene, of course. And I was, this is of course before Google or anything like that, so art reference was a little hard to find, and even just getting like seeing what comic artists were doing was to be an expensive venture. Well, when they started coming out with the art card sets, I was snapping them up like crazy. And what was happening was I had a friend who was a manager of a comic store up there. And when these sets would come in, he'd tell me about it. And I'd buy the whole damn set. Or you could go to shows anywhere and they'd be right there. You'd have like in the clear box would be the entire set
yeah,
of things like the Boris and Julie Marvel masterpieces, or the Stan Julian art sets, or the Boris art sets, or the Frazetta art sets. I was snapping those up like crazy, and I got to go look because I'm pretty sure I've got a bunch of those Marvel masterpiece ones.
yeah,
Because at that time I was such a Boris fan that it was like, oh, he's doing Marvel, yeah, let's get a few of these.
yeah. Like I said, well worth you taking a look at what you have and see if you have something.
We'll continue this conversation off of this, but yeah, I will. I
Yeah,
will.
don't go posting. Oh, look what I have. Who wants them?
Yeah, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing it.
Like,
I didn't realize they were worth that much.
yeah. Hang on a second. One sec.
Yeah.
So a while back, my dad was cleaning the basement and he found a box of old cards I had, right? Because I used to have
Right.
all of this shit.
Right.
And I had this whole set and I sold it a long time ago. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards I had left from MM16 from Masterpieces 2000 and no, sorry, 96. I sold this on Friday for 150.
Holy shit.
And that's a good deal. I got to ship these tomorrow.
Yeah, I had chromiums. I had all that kind of stuff. I mean, back in the '90s, that was the thing. They were all over the. And then then the entire market fell out. Like nobody was doing them anymore.
Mm-hmm. And now it's like,
yeah,
crazy.
It's like comic book collecting was. Back when these books were coming out, nobody gave a shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then then there was a collector's market, and then that died out, and then whatever is left over comes back, and that's hot again. I'm noticing there's a lot of interest now in a lot of those comics from the '90s that were originally hot, and then nobody gave a crap about, but now they're hot again.
Yep, same thing's happening. I mean, it's the exact same thing that's happening in the cards. It's happening in the comics because you get all these guys that, and it's investments. I mean, it's getting to a point where you can go to the bank and show them your graded books and comics and use that as collateral for a mortgage.
Yeah.
The same as you can say, hey, here I have, 2,500 Microsoft shares. It's
everything, especially in the collector world, everything's cyclical.
Mhm.
I've said this before. It's like people get disgusted or just disappointed. It's like, well, yeah, but if you're going to look at it as an investment, if you're going to look at it in that sort of framework, yeah, you're going to be dealing with high risk, and unless you're really willing to absorb that kind of risk, there's no point in it. But yet at the same time, if you look at it as partial investment, partial just because you like the stuff, I think you're in good shape. And like a lot of these guys I know right now are resurfacing with stuff like Spawn #1 or Wildcats #1, and they're getting a lot of money for that shit. And remember back at that time, those came out to be collected, and people snapped them all up, and then the value on them collapsed. You could get a Wildcats 1 for like nothing.
Well, I remember because I was banging comics when I was a teenager, and I had a ton of books and cards and stuff like that. And then as I got older and got out of it, I sold the bulk of my collection, and I sold Spawn 1 through 10 in like solid. None of them were great, but in solid conditions because I bought them, bagged them, and that was it. I always bought 2 copies of everything that was cool. I bought a reading copy and a collection copy.
Yeah.
And I still have some of the reading copies floating around because they're all like messed up. But I sold 1 to 10 for like $150, including 9, which was Angela, right? Which was comparable. I think #1 and was it 9 or 11? No, I think it was 9.
It was 9 because I got it here. I have it here.
That white cover, and then it's like,
I actually found it at a flea market. I bought it for $1 at a flea market, and it was in good shape.
But that also tanked because the whole Angela license issue, because she's in Marvel now, right?
Yeah, she's a Marvel character. Yeah, she's part of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, like she is wielding Mjolnir and whatnot.
Yeah. She's Thor's sister. That's how they wrote it in.
Oh, is she one of the sisters?
She's one of the sisters now. Which I don't know if they're going to ever put that on the MCU, how they're ever going to pull it off, but who knows?
Well, apparently Odin's been busy.
Come on now.
I mean, same way they did Loki being a frost giant. I don't think that's, spoiler alert, by the way, I don't think that's in the comic books. Is it?
He was a dark elf. Actually.
Oh, was he?
I believe so. He was an elf. I think it was something like that. It was they found him like in a. I got to go back and look it up, but I don't think it wasn't a frost giant. It was a. I think it was an elf.
So
to repeat myself over and over again, but I think that I have no idea, dude.
Elf. I see. I don't understand the whole frost giant thing. How come he's not blue?
Yeah, good question. But
or 17 feet tall.
Or 17 feet tall. But the thing was he was adopted by Odin and her name Bria.
Renee Russo.
And she taught Renee Russo. He was adopted by Renee Russo. And Renee Russo taught him magic and illusion and shapeshifting and all that kind of crazy shit.
So maybe he's constantly hiding his true appearance.
Yeah. It did. They addressed that actually in the first Thor movie at one point when I think he was getting into a fight with Balder or somebody like that, and he for a second he started turning blue. Like he got hit in the face or something, and it turned him blue, or his hands turned blue, or something like that. But they did do something like that in the first movie, just like a peek of like, yep, he's a Jotun.
Yeah, they kind of buried that.
It's Norse myth. Dude, have you actually read Norse mythology?
I tried, and I really liked the Greek mythology and the Roman mythology, like Odysseus, the Odyssey,
Right.
all that stuff. I really, really enjoyed that, and I try to get into the Norse stuff, and I'm like, this is weird.
It's hard to follow. Well, again, keep in mind, Greek and Roman mythology is this is kind of the foundations of Western civilization anyway. So, the lessons being taught or the things being discussed in it are actually, stuff that's kind of the foundation of our civilization anyway.
Yeah,
The
so it'd be a
Norse
lot
and
easier to relate.
Norse and Egyptian, not so much. And I remember, when Erin was in school and she had to do a report on Egyptian mythology, and I thought, oh, this will be fun. I'll help her. And I found even just like kid books on Egyptian mythology, and it's like, yeah, let's look this stuff up, and we'll read these stories. And I was just scratching my head, like, why? What is going on in here?
Who wrote this?
Yeah, and a lot of it's just the value system. There's lessons that can be taught in Greek mythology that make sense to us. There's jealousy, avarice, very, different things that really go along with Christian society.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the deadly sins and
all that crap. Yeah. You know darn well that if you did something in ancient Greece, something bad was going to happen to you. Or, there were certain lessons you could do. It's like, a modern person could, traverse Greek mythology and for the most part come out unscathed because, they're not going to just stumble into the pitfalls of the stupidity of the victims in this thing. I mean, like, you can watch these Harryhausen movies and go, yeah, I relate completely to that. But the Norse crap, you're like, what?
Well, and this is what, and you've watched Norseman, right?
I watched like the first part of it. I don't, me on TV shows. We were just talking about this. I get so far into it and then I tune out. But yeah.
Yeah, like this is what makes Norseman so good. And I'm sort of rewatching on my business partner. Sometimes we'll grab lunch and put it on. So
Yeah.
he's watched like 4 episodes, and it's like, because there's that one guy who it's one of the new slaves, and this when they discovered England, and he's a Christian actor, performer, musician, right? So he comes in with all the Christian values, and they're they still have slavery and stuff, but he's got a totally different outlook of things. And then there's all the Norse stuff that happens, and he just like cannot wrap his head around it.
Yeah. And the funny thing is in that show, since the point of view was from the Norsemen, you start assimilating into it like, okay, this is normal. And then you start really getting the joke about like, this is fucked up, like what was it, the first episode where the woman wants to dump her husband and she gets him in the duel with the other guy, the big Viking who's just like this big gentle giant. And she gets him into this thing and he's psyching himself up and the guy just cuts him in half and everybody's just like, yeah, okay, that's cool. And you're like,
and the rule is, you do the duel and the winner gets the other guy's property. And that's the way it is.
That's the way it is. And you watch that unfold and you're sitting there going, okay, yeah, that made all perfect sense to me. But then you're like, that's fucked up.
Yeah. Like
there is nothing right about what just happened there. But yeah, and you're right. That's what's great about that show is just the way they handle it with, it's like Western or it's just, like modern Western dialogue. And it's just like, these are just everybody's, these are just like people, but they're dealing with Norse crap.
Like when they're talking about the Iron Eagle or the Blood Eagle.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's like, oh, it's a great honor. It's like, yeah, but I think it's going to hurt. Or the whole scene with the elders where they're supposed to jump off the cliff to go to Valhalla because they're too old.
Oh yeah.
Society. And they're like, I don't think I want to. I'm only 42 years old.
Can you just like tell them we jumped?
Yeah, like we won't tell anyone. We're just gonna go. But
We won't come back. We promise.
yeah,
Yeah. And you know, I had forgotten about this for the longest time, and then they started rerunning it on one of the streaming services. But Norseman owes an awful lot to Eric the Viking.
I've never seen that.
Oh, sweet Jesus, Dre, you've got to see Eric the Viking. You know what that is, though, right?
Is that Monty Python
Well, sort of.
or some of the Monty Python guys?
Yeah. I think it was Terry Jones who directed it. And oh God, what's his name? Tim Robbins is the lead. Tim Robbins is there.
I need to look this up. It sounds familiar. It sounds very familiar.
It's associated with, but not a straight-on Monty Python movie. But it's very Monty Python, very Monty Python. But it's sort of like watered down Monty Python. So
Monty Python light.
yeah. It's a little bit more. I would say it's a little bit more American Monty Python, but still, it's got that kind of humor. Case in point, this is one of the great moments in it. It's not a spoiler. Was there's a character they call Leif the Lucky, and it's just kind of one of these things that you don't pay much attention to him. They just might be calling him Leif the Lucky, and then the big gag comes when without telling why. It's like the book. It's like thrown across the ocean, and they're like hanging on for dear life, and one guy falls out screaming to his death to the ocean below. And somebody says, "Oh my God, who fell out?" I said, "It was Leif the Lucky." Yeah, let that wrap around your head for a little bit.
Was this Biggest Dickus? No, that was
No, that's Life of Brian.
Life of Brian. Okay, all right.
Yeah, Life of Brian. I think I want to say Tubi again because I've been watching a lot of Tubi, but I think it's on there. Michelle hadn't seen it, and she was, she's not big on Monty Python, but I was telling her about it. She was laughing her ass off. Mickey Rooney plays the chieftain. Oh God, there's so many jokes about it. One of the funniest things in it is an ongoing joke. Is there's a Christian. It's like he's a convert. I'm gonna say missionary, but he's like a convert, and he goes along on this mission. And the whole thing is they've got to end Ragnarok. And what they've got to do is they've got to go to Valhalla, awaken the gods, and end Ragnarok. And as this is going on, they run into crap like frost giants and dragons and, the gods themselves and all this stuff. And everything supernatural that they run into, they're all screaming and in terror about it. And the Christian guy's like, what? What are you yelling at? I don't see anything.
Oh, he can't see them?
No.
Oh, because he doesn't have the. Okay, yeah, I get it.
Because he's a Christian. And one of the funniest gags I thought was they take him to Valhalla, and they're standing outside of the halls of Valhalla, and they're like, "Well, how do we get in? There's these giant doors, and there are these huge imposing gates, and all this crap." And they're like, "How do we get in there?" And the Christian guy just like walks right through the walls.
He doesn't believe it. That's funny. I got Eric the what? Eric the Red?
Eric the Viking. Eric the Viking.
Viking. I gotta see if I get that up here.
Oh, there are so many gags about. Yeah, I hope you do. Oh, try to find it somewhere because it's worth it, and it's got heart too. It's a very well done movie. The gags are priceless, and the cameo, like I said, Mickey Rooney's in it. Eartha Kitt's in it. Trying to think of some of the other people. There's another funny running joke in it too, where John Cleese is in it. He plays one of the bad guys in it. Halfton the Black. And oh, sweet Jesus. I'm going to sit here and just laugh about this, but it's like I can't say anything because you haven't seen it.
I have a feeling I might have seen it a long, long time ago.
You might. It's an 80s movie, so maybe you did.
I might have, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna look that up.
When one of the funnier things about it, and even though it was unfortunate, was when studios kept releasing like director's cuts, longer versions. They actually released a version of Eric the Viking, and I think they called it something like the director's nephew's cut, and it was actually shorter than the actual theatrical movie.
Okay, was it just a gag or?
Yeah, yeah. They actually did do this, though. They released it like this, and it kind of backfired because then people were like, "What the hell?" You know, they cut part of the movie out of it. But yeah, it was. I mean, that's just kind of the humor of it. There is nothing that takes itself that seriously in this movie. And just the whole gags on Viking culture. It's just a lot of it's very much like Norseman, where it's just this very, deadpan but yet silly. It's just like, do you realize how crazy this is they're talking about?
Yeah.
The like there's the one kid who's the one Viking is a berserker, and he's carrying on the family tradition of a berserker because his dad's a berserker. But he doesn't do it as well as dad does because he keeps like going berserk at the wrong time.
Yeah, I could see the
one of my favorite lines that I forgot. I forgot one of my favorite lines in this was they were confronting they were confronting this one danger. These bad guys were coming up on them, and they're sitting there in the boat watching this approach, and the one Viking starts going, I feel strange. And he says, well, what do you mean you feel strange? He says, well, I feel like kind of cold and shivery, and my stomach is like turning over, and I can't control my bowels. And the guy says, that's fear. And the one guy says, what's wrong over there? He says, oh, he doesn't know the meaning of fear. Yeah. And I feel like I want to vomit. He says, yes, that's fear.
Such a strange concept.
It's very much like that. It's like, God, where were you guys coming up with? And you're like, oh, this is very Monty Python. It's got that crazy intellectual
It also feels
humor.
a little bit not Tim Burton. Blazing Saddles. What's his name?
Little Mel Brooks. Very
Mel
much.
Brooks.
Yeah. It could have been. It could have been.
Like Robin Hood Men in Tights. You've seen that, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my God, that's just genius.
The chastity belt scene. Holy hell.
Oh, yeah.
Any of them though. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Watched High Anxiety again too. Big Mel Brooks fan.
Oh, man, I haven't seen that in a long time. Mel Brooks, like some Mel Brooks stuff, like Men in Tights for me is probably his best. But I know it's not as kind of extreme as he could have gone, right? Like Blazing Saddles is very
well, keep in mind too, with Blazing Saddles, he co-wrote that with Richard Pryor. And yeah, and actually Richard Pryor was supposed to play the part of Sheriff Bart.
Okay.
But at the time, Richard Pryor was catching a lot of crap for all his drug use, and a lot of the studios were down on him. And even though Mel Brooks had a lot of faith in him, and they were good friends, it was tough for him to get the part. The studio didn't want him to have the lead. And plus at that time, Richard Pryor was extremely outspoken. He was a militant comedian. He stepped on a lot of toes.
Yeah,
and
he pissed off a lot of people.
And there was a great interview with Mel Brooks. He was talking about that, and he says, to his credit, Richard Pryor, when they were talking to him about it, it's like he not only understood, but he's the one who recommended Cleavon Little. Because he understood completely. It's like, yeah, he wanted this movie to be made, and he realized that there was no other way he was going to get these gags and these jokes that he wrote unless he was still part of it, and the only way he was going to be part of it was to be on the outside.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he was a co-writer for that movie with Mel Brooks, and that's probably has that edge to it, that even like Frankenstein doesn't even have. It's Blazing Saddles is like, whoa, I can't even believe they got away with that. Like, yeah, that's a lot of Richard Pryor humor right there. But
Oh, what do I want to ask? So there's totally separate thing. There's a movie on Netflix. I can't remember what it's called. It's about how Animal House got made, but it's not a
seriously.
documentary. It's about the guys that started Cracked.
Yeah. National Lampoon.
National Lampoon. Sorry, yeah, but it's the guys that started National Lampoons are. It's really good, really interesting.
Is it called something like what is it called, like Drunken?
Disorderly, maybe, or I don't. It's recent. It just. But,
Yeah, no, I did see it, and it covers like the making of Caddyshack and Animal House, and
yeah, it's more about the two guys and their relationship, and then ultimately, I can't remember their names. Of the one guy died.
the guy that dies. Yeah, the one of the guys that dies.
Yeah, it's about him.
Yeah,
And he narrates it. Like it's written as if he's telling the story.
I did see that. That's a really good movie, actually.
Yeah, I had no idea what to expect, and I had it on. I was painting something. I'm like, okay, this is really good. So I stopped painting and watched it, which pissed me off because I didn't paint.
There is there actually is a documentary on kind of the same thing, but yeah, not nearly as entertaining for some crazy reason. I remember this came out and I started watching it, going, oh, they're gonna fictionalize the hell out of this, kind of like what they did with that movie CBGB. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah, I think I turned it off.
Yeah, and I was a little worried it was going to end up being like that, but no, they kept it entertaining at least, and they flat out said it's like, maybe some of the stuff happened, some of the stuff didn't happen, some of it definitely did.
Well, at some parts, it's like this is not really how it happened, but it keeps the story going.
Yeah, they would flat out admit it. I love that. Like, yeah, this is what happened, but anyway, moving on. Well, you don't really want to know what really happened. This is much more fun. Like, okay. Yeah. I gotta find that.
I mean, the whole thing with Caddyshack with the groundhog. Where he didn't want the groundhog in it, but the studio was in love with it.
I was thinking about the scene where it was him and the guy playing Chevy Chase were just sitting in the one room just doing coke all day long.
Yeah, it turns out Chevy Chase wasn't actually there.
Yeah.
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 Like, yeah, Chevy left like last week. Yeah, it was a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a very pleasant surprise.
Time is it here?
4:20.
I got the dog. The dogs are hovering around me right now. I see you. I know.
Thanks for hopping on it. I mean, we've talked about this before. It's so much easier to stay focused and productive.
It is, and I got to thank you too. I was kind of in a weird frame of mind this morning, and just just trying to get stuff done, and it wasn't working. And as soon as you suggested, I was actually almost going to cancel out on you, like I got too much to do. And then I thought, nah, let's do this, because this is, as you say, it's a good way to get focused. And this has been fantastic. I appreciate this a lot.
Yeah, no problem. And I was talking to Monshaw and Warner about it kind of last week or whatever. Like, I'm having a hard time staying focused and kind of buttoning down to. I have commissions on top of commissions that I got to do, right? But I'm just like really hard to stay focused and get them done. And I keep on changing projects. Like I sent him a picture of 7 pieces,
Oh man.
like a bunch of cards, and this guy was there to print them on. And I'm like, I got all of these on the go, and I don't really want to work on any one of them. And
Yeah.
just pick one, doesn't matter which one, button down and finish that one tonight. So I did, and I was like, I do the same thing tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand the guys, or not that I don't understand. Like I don't give props and respect to the guys that do this full time, because I don't know. I've never drawn a full day straight. Never mind every day
Yeah.
for a month.
Well, I mean, I mean, a lot of that is just the way they are too. They can do that. They can just sit down and sit at a drawing table and do it for 6 hours straight, and just get themselves lost in what they're doing, and that's fine. And there's a lot of artists that do that stuff, but at the same time, you're not giving yourself enough credit, I think, because you have a lot of background like what I was coming from, which is more production based. Let's be honest, you were more of a grown up than they were. Those guys who worked on comics and everything. Yeah, they had crazy deadlines and everything, and they had to come up with all this stuff. But they would, that's all they did.
Well, I'm not
there was
talking about guys like years ago. I'm talking like Forney, right? He does this full time.
Well, it's the same thing. It's what I'm trying to say is like it's the same thing. Forney does not have a full time job. Forney just does this, and that's been like this for years. And that's not that he doesn't work real hard, but he is. I don't honestly think he ever really. I don't know if he actually really ever did the office grind thing. Like having to sit through board meetings and work on crap in a cubicle, or go through production meetings and stuff, and deal with vendors and deal with production houses. I don't know if he's ever had to do that. But I not necessarily him, but I know a lot of the guys that do this kind of stuff full time, they never did. Or the guys I talk to at the shows that that they do it full time. That's all they do is go from Comic-Con to Comic-Con, and they've never worked in an office. And they look at me like I'm crazy when I tell them, when I was working in an office, and they say, "What do you, why would you do that?" It's a job, But that's the way, I got into this thing. I'm a production artist. I was the guy that would work with the art director and the printer, and we would try to figure out how to make this freaking yellow work on a freaking billboard. That was my job. And when you're telling me, now your job is to sit down and draw Deadpool, like this was fun for me. This was how I relaxed.
Well, yeah, and this is, I've said it before. The only reason I started drawing again after like not drawing for like over 10 years was to unplug.
Yeah.
And get away from the computer, get away from the conference calls and everything else.
I don't know. I think it's a problem that we all kind of face. I know I'm definitely going through it, but at the same time, it does work itself out. And the more you do it, the more you're going to get focused on it. That's a given. But let's be honest. It wasn't. I mean, you're still kind of doing all that stuff. You're still doing that production stuff, right? In the video production and all that. Yeah. I mean, how can you be that focused when really honestly your focus is split already? You really can't change that.
Maybe that's what it is. I think next time I tried last time, I took time off from like the day-to-day to just, and maybe next time I'll do it for sure, like take a week off and really 9 to 5 for that week off, draw. Treat it like a job, but
you could do it that way, or my suggestion is actually kind of where I'm thinking about doing is at a certain point, maybe focusing on one and not the other. I mean, this is what I deal with the pins right now. I've got a stack of jobs that I've got to get done next week after the stack of jobs I just got done this week.
that has absolutely nothing to do with this stuff. And there's days I get very frustrated because I'm like, I can't get my head into drawing Deadpool or putting the Little League pin together because I'm too, bouncing back and forth too much.
Mhm.
And I hate it, I hate to admit it, but one of the things I might have to seriously think of at some point is go, which direction you want to go, man? Because, you can't keep doing both like this, and unless you dial them back severely. And unless I hit the lottery, there ain't going to be no way of doing that.
Well, yeah, I mean that's part of the challenge. Like I can't stop doing my 9 to 5 and hope
Yeah.
that like I can't. I mean, this is where the business part of it comes into play, right? Like I can't make the same amount of money to kind of pay the bills if I were to stop working and just do art. I can't
Yeah.
produce enough art at the rates that I'm getting paid
Exactly.
to do it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And would you even want to? I mean, because look at what Sean goes through. He's got to do sales like every week. He has to do Kickstarters like every month.
Yeah.
He is partnering up with everybody that he can because that's the only way that he can kind of balance it out and get at least get things produced. And he's still booking commission after commission after commission,
Hmm.
just to keep the lights on. And this is where I'm saying to you is maybe if it is starting to become a problem, think of one or the other that you can dial back on. And it sounds to me you're kind of in the same boat I am, which is don't take so many commissions. Just
it's so I when other artists told me that this is probably wrong. I don't take money up front.
I'd
on
argue
commission.
with you on that too. Yeah, I would have a hard time with that too.
So I don't take money up front because man, I just finished the commission last week from last September. Is one because I have a waiting list and people been waiting for like a year because
Mhm.
I'm not going because I do this evenings and weekends when I have time and the energy. I don't
Right.
I don't like to commit to people and say, okay, give me money and I'll be ready in 6 months. I'll say, okay, now I can start working on it. I'll be ready in a couple of weeks. Now we can talk money. You want something in a year? I'll put your name on the list and I'll give you a shout when I'm close
Right.
to your name. Then the
I
only reason I do that because I don't want anybody to pay and then have to wait 6 months because I know I've commissioned work that some that I've paid, some that I haven't paid for, and I've been waiting for over 6 months.
Well,
And
now, honestly, especially lately, I've been doing something kind of like that. So I'm not going to criticize you at all on this, but
oh,
um,
criticize away. And
no, 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 no. I mean, a couple of years ago, I would have been like, dude, Dre, you're nuts. Take the money. But at the same time, what I've been learning is kind of the same thing. It's like then you get overbooked, and what do you do? So, and I got a guy right now. Actually, I've been talking to. He's getting impatient, but I just flat out told him it's like, look, we're not even going to start working on this thing until February. And actually, it's not even that big of a deal. But the thing is my commission list right now is so heavy that I don't want to commit to one more person, for a project that he wants, and then get his expectations up and not be able to deliver. And I just simply told him, it's like, yeah, we're going to talk about this in February. We're not going to do it anything about it ahead of time. But what I did do, kind of on my own dime, was I did the research and the not preliminaries, but basically the how do I describe it? Just like lining up things like what kind of reference I want to use.
yeah, which is something that I never account for in terms of when you're trying to time how long something takes.
Yeah, and I don't
It's all
either.
just, yeah,
Because damn well there's no way to do that because it's going to be different each time. When you're planning a piece, what you're bringing in when you're doing the final production. But to achieve that, you might have to pull some new trick that you've never invented before, or you might have to look at it in a completely different way. So I don't put that on the clock. I simply start thinking about it and start, like anything that I can do, like, okay, I'll download a couple pictures here, or I'll start networking with this model here, or I'll start sketching up poses here. And I'll just do that all on my own. And when I have it ready to go, then I can, contact them and say, okay, now we can move forward. And then I'll actually start working on the commission, actually start putting the piece together. That's
Yeah.
been the compromise I've made to do this. But like you, I don't take the money up front at all on that. But at the same time, I'm not really doing anything that's costing me. It's just preliminary stuff. So when the guy's like, hey, where are we at on this? Can we get working on it? I don't feel so bad when I'm like, no, we can wait a couple more weeks. I'm still not ready to work with you because I've still got to get this other shit done. Because no money's been changed yet. But
Yeah,
now,
and that's
yeah, but I have a date kind of set for it. It's like, okay, we talked about doing it at this particular time. So therefore, I'm ready to roll. You better, get the money in, and then we'll just hurry up and knock the thing out and be done. And that's kind of how I've been approaching it a lot lately, trying to thin down the commission list. Because like you, I've been running into this problem where it's like, Jesus, I get booked up, and then then all of a sudden it's like, I still got to pay the bills, so I still got to book up more stuff on top of it, and then I'm like, I can't get this shit done.
yeah, and that's it. Like that part of the struggle, right? The struggle is real, yo.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But I mean, I have once I'm done this batch of commissions. I mean, the next one I'm doing, which I was gonna say earlier, I have a guy said go as big as you can. So I'm probably gonna go 11 by 17, 12 by 19.
cool.
And we talked about this since before Christmas, and I've done the odd like some rough sketches for him, saying this is
Right.
sort of what I'm thinking today, and then a couple of days later, maybe this, maybe that, where we still haven't finalized what it is, how big it's going to be, or what's going to cost. But I'm just kind
Yeah.
of futzing around with the idea, trying to wrap my head around what I'm actually comfortable
Yeah.
doing in a large size, and kind of figure out how to price it. And he's been really cool about it. I told him that from the beginning. I'm like, hey, you want to get something? No problem.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while, and I don't know how to price it yet. And he's like, yeah, cool, no problem.
Yeah, as long as he's cool with it, yeah, just do that. I mean, don't put yourself under that commitment. I'm agreeing with you. As you say, when people argue with you about taking money up front, well, if there's a difference between not taking money up front and then doing the project and then getting burned on it, is which a lot of us think you're saying. But when you get in this position, you start realizing what you're doing is, you're not really committing yourself without payment. You're just pushing the planning back because you don't have the time to do it, and you're being fair to your client. And if they don't accept that, then no harm done. Fine. If he gets
Exactly.
mad and storms off, fine. Go to hell, buddy.
Well, like, kind of an advantage being so tied to the collector communities, because a lot of the people I talk to on a regular basis are hardcore collectors. And I hear
Yeah.
their gripes when they're like, I've been waiting for a commission for like close to
Yeah.
a year. I already paid for it. I just keep on hearing next week and next week and next week. I don't want to be that guy, right? I don't want people to
I don't either.
like talking to their friends. Like, I love his work, but it's been like a year and I still haven't seen anything and I paid for it.
Yeah. I will confess, I have been that guy. I have, been late on stuff, ridiculously late on stuff. And I've just gotten to the point now where, I just bite the bullet and sometimes refund people because it's like, yeah, I told you I would do this. I took money on it, and there's just no way in hell I'm going to do this and get it done in time and make it look good. And it shocks them, and sometimes angers them. But I'm just like, here's your money back. I'm not going to do that anymore. And I'm with you. I hate that feeling of not having something done when you told somebody you were going to get it done, and you keep trying to push them, keep trying to dodge them because you don't want to answer those questions because you got a legitimate reason because you really are busy with other shit.
Yeah.
And what do you tell them? Well,
You're a low priority. You're not as important as the rest of them.
you can't do that. You can't do that. And even as a lesson to that, I sometimes will book my own commissions for stuff that I want to have done. And I'm not going to say who it is, but I got a comic artist, I've been working now with for about a year, and all I've gotten is one preliminary pencil drawing out of him. But he's a rather well-known guy, and I know he's busy as hell. So
I'm in the same boat. I got a prelim in early summer. Was supposed to be ready for September. That's it, right?
Yeah.
And I know he's busy, and I'm not chasing him, but
Yeah. And how do you respond to that? I mean, what do you do with it? And
and all I've been doing is every so often, I give him so much time, and then after a period of time, I just shoot him another note, going, "Hey, how's that going?"
That's
And
what
and
I've
I
been doing.
and I just put myself in the position of the people that I ended up doing that to half the time. It's like, yeah, I know what it's like. I know what it's like when you're that busy, and all of a sudden you get this message reminding you of this damn project you promised this person forever ago, and you're taking money on it, and the money's long spent, and you don't even know what the hell you're going to tell them. Like, yeah, I get it, dude. But still, I want my piece.
Yeah.
Dude, I am gonna have to take off here though.
Yeah, no, I think it's time for me to wrap it up. I mean, I've been streaming for 3.5 hours.
Damn,
This is
Gorr
three
looks
and a half
good.
hours worth of work,
Yeah,
and
that
I
was my
got
hours.
to paint it all over.
Yeah, that looks good. Have you? Do you follow Bella Rashlin on
Oh yeah, I know
Instagram?
Bella. Yeah, I talked to Bella.
Oh, you talked about. She's freaking amazing. She is actually. My whole new art style is based on her. I watch her videos and like, damn it, that's how you do it. And literally, that's how I've been pulling shit off anymore. Is I've been following kind of her technique.
Yeah, soon she's probably going to hop on a stream with me, but it's just a matter of scheduling because she talk about busy people.
Oh, I imagine.
Yeah, but she's one of these days she's going to hop on.
Holy crap, is that girl good?
Yeah, and you know what? Like watching her growth. I mean, she was good 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I first found her, and man, she's developing fast. And Edan Kranov, Art of Edan.
No, I don't know.
Very similar coloring style, especially on the Copic side. The same. They're very good friends. Yeah, I'll send you his link too. He does some crazy stuff with Copics. Very similar process.
I would like to. Yeah, I mean, she does a lot of brush work. And what I did was I tried to incorporate Copics into like what she was doing, but I would like to see a guy who's actually doing the Copics to see what he's pulling off.
Oh man, his
but damn, I love watching these guys.
They look like airbrush with Copic.
Oh hell!
Just like what in the actual fuck, dude.
Nice.
Was it?
And as I say, it's kind of a blessing and a curse when you're watching these guys. I mean, sometimes I love it and I get inspired, but at the same time, it just kicks me right in the crotch. I'm just like, God, I suck. I get so depressed looking at this stuff. Like, God, you guys are so good.
Yeah, I sent you Edan's link.
I just saw it come through.
Yeah,
but
check
damn
it out. You'll like that.
That Gorr's looking fantastic, dude. It's
Thank
looking
you, sir.
amazing.
So what are you doing with the Deadpool? Is that going to be just a render, or are you slapping color on that bad boy?
I'll be color on it. I'm definitely putting color on it. It's that process like you've been seeing, like with a Hawkeye. We're gonna spray it down with the water. I love working with the graphite. I was tempted to go in and do black and white wash on this first, but I just said nah. Hello?
Ink wash?
Yeah, I was gonna do ink wash, and I just said screw it. I'm just gonna do graphite as a preliminary, and then we're just gonna start putting the color and the values over top of that.
Sweet.
And that's been successful. But yeah, this is I found a stash of 9x12 good Bristol, so that's been making it easier.
I know you gotta go, but I want to show you if I can reach my bag without unplugging the computer. Not on this because it's obvious sketch cover, but I bought a pad of, is it here? This stuff. Strathmore acrylic paper?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I use that. I use that a lot.
Oh man, is this a treat to work on?
It's good for painting on.
Oh my god, I love it. I mean, besides the fact that it doesn't soak up the paint and water like normal paper does,
right?
It doesn't dry as quick, so you can do really, really nice blends.
There was trying to find the one that's here. It's too far away. I found an 8x8 tablet at Walmart of all places, and it was a mixed media paper, but it was a little heavier than what the usual mixed media paper is, and it's working out fantastic. It doesn't blister or warp nearly so bad under the washes.
Is it the Strathmore stuff?
I think it's Strathmore, yeah.
This, right? Or is it the blue pack?
It's the blue pack.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the blue stuff's great. This is really good too. This is the vellum finish one. It's a little bit,
Yeah.
because this one's 300 GSM, like 184 pound. It doesn't curl as easily.
Honestly though, I'm just gonna probably go back to using this crap though. The smooth finish Bristol. Because it just holds up to anything.
Even when you get it really wet.
Yeah. I mean, it'll bow a little bit, but it recovers a lot better than the other stuff.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. We'll see. And like I said, it was for commissions and stuff. But for playing around and stuff, I still go cheap. I still like my cheap media. Dude, I'll draw on anything. I will. Backing boards. I love backing boards.
Backing boards are great. Actually, I ran out and I bought a stack of the Silver Age backing boards.
Yeah.
Which is actually a different paper. They're a little bit bigger because they didn't have the normal size because supply chain issue. So all I got was the Silver Age bags and boards. Oh, that's good paper.
It is. Hey, okay, my microphone, my earphone just died on me, so I'm gonna have to really got to go. But thank you again, man.
Yeah, always a pleasure. I'll always drop you a message when I stream. You're always welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Awesome, man. Catch you later.
All right, bye.
J5, everyone. Great guy. And I will wrap this up momentarily because I think that's about as much as I can do here without overworking parts that I'm going to have to repaint later anyways. But yeah, let's take off the masks here. See how well he looks over the logo. I'm gonna have to remask this later anyways. I'll do a tight crop. I'll actually need to take this off because I missed part of the horn. Yeah, that's going to work out just peachy. But I'm going to just block in this piece that I missed. I think the edges are nice and smooth or nice and crisp. So he's going to, from here down, the background's going to be all painted. It's going to pop through over the title. And that's that. So the next step is going to be, and I'm not going to do that on stream because it's pointless. I'm going to fussy cut this, meaning I'm going to cut out the silhouette because I'm going to need to use this as a mask for the airbrush in order to airbrush the background. And so I'm not doing that on stream because it's too complicated to record, but I'll take process pics and post it and probably work on this a little bit off stream as well. And that's it. Thanks so much, everyone. Always fun to chat with people, and we'll see you next time. Have a great weekend.